there is a hole in the I-10 freeway, the most important freeway in Arizona. I mean, it connects our two biggest cities, Phoenix and Tucson, and there are some questions about how long that hole has actually been there. I mean, that's one thing we got to keep try to keep track of. And then there are also some questions about what can be done to fix it and get traffic moving once again on the I-10 freeway. Good morning, everybody. This is Fox 10 Talks. I'm Ron Hoon, joined today by Anita Roman. Hi, Anita.
Good morning, everyone. I have another question.
Yeah, what's that?
If you look to the right of that hole in the photo that you showed us,
okay,
there's a big piece of metal right over that.
Yeah.
It looks like they've already patched one hole.
Oh, Anita, your powers of observation are very impressive.
I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong.
No,
but
I
it looks
see
like there was
something
something else going on that side.
Okay.
When was that patched? Was that a similar hole?
All right, we're going to find out because we're going to talk to the folks at ADOT, and they know all about it. So anyhow, we always appreciate you guys tuning in to get your day started with us here on Fox 10 Talks. So we're normally our morning show's on from 4:30 to 10. We're off a little bit early on TV because of soccer, some of the great international soccer. But we're still here for you at 10 a.m. Also, when the winds hit last night, they were strong enough to knock over not one but two semi-trucks, also out there on the 10. And we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with housing prices. In 2020, the median price for a home in America was $270,000. Well, they've just come out with a new number for where it is right now, and it was just updated. Did it go up even more? Or could it possibly have dropped a little bit? Who knows? That would be good news, right?
That would be good news.
These prices are out of control.
They are.
It's all coming up here this half hour. You can watch us live on fox10phoenix.com as well as the Fox Local app, and then you can check this out all day long on YouTube. I was just looking at the YouTube numbers. There are thousands of people who watch this program, this digital program every day now.
Well, it's a great digital program. I enjoy sitting here with you and chatting because it really gives us a little bit of extra time to talk about all the headlines.
The big stuff.
Right, the big stuff and what people are worried about, and then some fun stuff as well.
Well, I think people are worried about what's going on at the 10. So we're going to bring Steve Elliott on from ADOT. Steve is he's the guy in the know, that's for sure. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Ron.
All right, so I'm here with Anita. We're showing our viewers some of the pictures that we were able to get earlier this morning down there on the I-10. So this is the Gila River Bridge, and it happens so fast. I mean, 99% of the time the Gila River runs dry anyway, so people might not even realize they're driving over the riverbed of a big southwestern river. And there's a big project in the works that will replace this bridge at some point. But give us the kind of the rundown, Steve, of what happened, whether it was last night or this morning, where you guys felt like, all right, we got to get this thing closed and addressed.
Sure. It was around 1 a.m. today. I'm still nailing down the time, but it was between 1 and 2 a.m. We were contacted about an issue on the bridge. The surface concrete deteriorated in a section, kind of straddling the lanes, and went down to the rebar. The rebar can support traffic, but we don't want traffic going over a place where we're down to the rebar. So we closed it until we could get a temporary repair in there. That is in there now, and we've got the bridge reopened to one lane of traffic. And then we're going to close I-10 again tonight, eastbound, and we're going to go in and do a more lasting repair to that area.
Tell us.
The bridge is structurally sound. Our engineers have worked with our staff at the site, and we just need to get it patched.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the planned closure for tonight. Are you going to be able to get the job done in one night? Is this going to be an all-night closure? What do we know about that, or is it going to be multiple nights?
No, it's not multiple nights. It's definitely a one-night thing. We're going to close it at 10 p.m. We're going to reopen it by 6 a.m., and we can make the repair in that time. So, and during that time, eastbound I-10 traffic will detour like it did today, which is Riggs over to 87 and 587, and then back to the freeway. And obviously, late at night, there will be less impact on traffic.
Any idea how long it had been kind of deteriorating there?
No, not at all. Traffic and weather, rain, semis, they do a number on asphalt and concrete. And I've got this bridge is a baby boomer. It was built in 1964. Wow. So and that's why we're building new bridges. So once in a while you have a situation like this where the cumulative effect of all those things can cause an issue like this. That doesn't really create a safety issue because the bridge is still structurally sound, but we need to close it and we need to patch it. Hold on, I'm getting some weird feedback. Anyway, so that's why we're closing it down tonight to make those fixes.
Steve, how is it that you're able to fix it so quickly in the overnight hours? It looks from the pictures and the video like a substantial hole, something
like
that's pretty
job.
deep, a big job, absolutely. So what is it that the engineers and the crew are going to be doing to make sure that this is filled properly so that the next time it rains, and we're not saying the rain caused it, but I'm sure that it didn't help matters, so that it stays put?
Yeah, this is something we do all the time. And if I knew that the technical answer to that, I would be an engineer, and I'm not. But safety is our number one priority, and we can get in there and we can patch it with concrete and have a lasting fix in there. So. And that's what we do when you have a situation like this, and that's what we do with bridges constantly. We have $500 million we spend every year to repair pavement and make sure our bridges are either replaced or are up to snuff, and this is part of that.
Well, I think we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't ask you a little bit about the project that is finally getting underway there, because I think we actually see some of the construction work just off in the distance there. Steve, tell us about the plans to finally make this 3 lanes between Phoenix and Casa Grande, and how much work's involved and what the time frame is.
Now, this is the vanguard of that project, and that is creating modern bridges that carry 3 lanes of traffic there. And I will tell you, I was there for the first time today. I've never seen so many tall cranes in my life putting in pilings for that new bridge. And this is all it's the vanguard of a project that over the next few years, and I do not have a finish date for that. For the bridge, it's supposed to be finished in 2026, but the overall project will be several years. And at the end, we'll have those 23 miles that are 2 lanes between roughly Loop 202 and Casa Grande. That'll be expanded to 3 lanes.
Well, that's excellent. All right, 2 completely unrelated questions, Steve. First of all, do you have a radio background? I have never complimented you yet on your voice, but every time we interview, I'm like, this guy did radio before.
He sounds good.
No, I was a print journalist. You're killing me.
Is that right? Here in town or where?
No, I used to do AP radio hits on the side, but no, I worked for the Associated Press for a long time.
Okay, that's great. And then I had another person here at the TV station ask, there on the 10, when you leave downtown Phoenix and you go from the 10 kind of through, I think sort of across toward Sky Harbor and down to about 32nd Street, he said there's a yellow stripe. Right, Anita? Am I getting this story right?
In the eastbound lanes, he said it basically looks like someone who was maybe painting lanes and some of the paint spilled.
Had you heard anything about that?
I've heard something about it, and if I knew the answer, I'd give it to you. And I believe it's going away. I don't have the full story. I could get you the information and let you know.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
No sweat. Yeah. I mean, you guys only have what, like 1,050 miles of freeway to keep track of here in the state of Arizona.
Millions, Ron. Millions.
Steve, we always appreciate your time. Thank you for
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay.
Is it fair to say, Ron, that this is a giant pothole, or would you say worse than that?
You know what?
I mean, that's essentially what it sounds like to me, that they're going to go in and patch it up the way they patch up potholes.
It is
because
a
he
giant
says the
pothole.
rebar, when you looked at the photo, I thought that was it's fine.
That's a perfect way to put it, Anita. It is. It's a huge pothole. I mean, I don't think you'd want to drive over that.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But he says the bridge is safe, so all they have to do is patch it. When they patch the pothole, that's what they do, fill it up.
Okay, so good to know that they're on it. Plan on one night of closures tonight. Again, this this is 10 a.m. when we're taping this. If you're watching on YouTube later in the day on Tuesday, just be aware there's going to be a Tuesday night all-night closure. They're going to hope to have that reopened by 6 in the morning on Wednesday morning. Let's talk about our crazy weather. Anita, of all of our weather pictures that we had, this one, this before and after, I love before and afters. We set up a time lapse up on South Mountain. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube around the world, I remember there was a film crew in here once from London. They were here in the summer, and they said, do you think we're going to get to see one of your desert dust storms, the haboobs, as they call them? And I said, it's quite possible. Because we've seen others that have a little more of a defined edge, but this was the beginning of it. You can see it's the last rays of sun.
And the haboobs are almost, or the dust storms, are almost a little bit more prevalent than the rain has become, especially when we have the monsoon. So you might see more dust storms than you see the rainstorms, and those usually come first.
Here's a quick glimpse, by the way, of the after. We'll go to the after in a second, but you're so right. I mean, we want the rain. We don't want a bunch of dust in our teeth and in our cars and in our backyards and everything else, but that is lately what we've been getting. And so anyway, there's the before, and you give it a few minutes, and that's the after, and that just shows you when those winds start to blow. I mean, they are powerful.
The visibility is reduced by so much. And you think about, for example, out there on the I-10 and Riggs, and especially in that Tucson area, you see that dust so thick. And that is, it's when we see all the accidents and so many things happening, because it's unpleasant to breathe, and it's unpleasant to see and have in our homes and cars, but also can be very dangerous.
All right. Well, as your segue skills are perfect, Anita, because check this out. That's what the winds are capable of doing. You go back down in this area around I-10 as you're starting to head south toward Casa Grande and Tucson. What you're looking at is not one but two semis that got blown over in the wind.
I would love more information on this. A viewer sent this in, and they saw it, and they were able to drive just through the two semis. Was it, you mentioned earlier this morning, maybe some type of
microburst,
maybe? Microburst?
Possibly.
That could have hit both those semis. Was it slick road conditions? Was it the heavy rains, low visibility? I mean, the car, obviously they have a higher profile, so the wind is going to knock them down maybe a little bit easier than a vehicle, but I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Neither have I. And I thought it was very convenient that there was just enough room to barely scrape by for one lane of traffic.
Because that would have been a big backup, too, last night.
Trying
to get those upright and move everything out of the way.
Well, I'll tell you, I did do just a little bit of research, and believe it or not, it takes about a 60-mile-an-hour wind to blow a semi over.
Okay.
I mean, that's on average. I guess it probably would depend on if they're fully loaded or if they're not loaded. But the winds had to be close to 60 mph to get those, and they both were knocked over at the almost exact same spot.
Almost like you said, it was just some type of burst that went right through that area. The perfect storm, they would call it.
Okay, so here's the view of what it was like when the rain actually came down, because again, we got to talk about the weather, we got to talk about the dust, we talk about the wind, but we got to talk about the rain because it was really pouring in some parts, particularly the East Valley. Chandler down there by the Chandler Mall at the 202 and the 101.
Chandler, I think, got 0.08 of an inch. And here's the tricky thing about these storms. Everything is measured at Sky Harbor Airport, and we chatted about this earlier. It almost seems like Sky Harbor never seems to get all the rain.
And we welcome you back here on Fox 10 Talks. Anita, you were so busy today. I was so impressed. You're doing the news like you always do, and then you're doing the traffic, and there was like the biggest traffic story of the month. The I-10 closed. And then you're also walking us through the weather on the morning after the monsoon.
I was trying to. I was absolutely
No,
trying
you
to.
were just doing great.
What shocks me or always surprises me about these monsoon storms, I was just outside, went out for a live shot or a story, came back, cloudy, and the humidity is like, what is it, the dew point, 63% or something like that. It's very high.
Right.
Heat index is going to be about 112 today.
That's the feels like?
Yes,
Yeah.
and so, and you know, when you have the humidity 3 days in a row or more, that's considered monsoon. That
Yes.
is ripe and prime for the rain, and it's been that way since Friday. It's not raining outside.
Well,
And the National Weather Service says we only have about a 10 to 20% chance for rain in the Phoenix area late this afternoon.
you know, it's interesting. Rick D'Amico, one of our all-time favorites here at Fox 10, used to tell me, he said, not that there's anything really scientific behind it, but it does seem like the day after big storm activity, it's a little calmer because it just sucks some of the energy out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if today we don't get something. We don't get a lot, maybe by tomorrow. Anyway, I thought we'd show the weather map, and you've been keeping track of it. Right now, it looks like the main thing, even it's maybe drying out just a little bit up there north of Flagstaff, but we're watching a little bit of possible activity. Let me see if I can drop the... I don't think I know how to drop that lower third. I think that's an impossibility.
You're going to see a lot of activity southeast, so Tucson area.
Okay.
Now, they only have about a 30 to 40% chance for showers after 3 o'clock. They got hit really bad Saturday. Now, just because you're seeing that green, keep in mind that might just be dissipating in the atmosphere, might not necessarily be hitting the ground in the form of rain. So, but again, that's all that moisture in the air, that humidity, that's what you're feeling. Flagstaff, however, has a 70% chance for rain showers.
Today?
Yes, in the afternoon, after 2 o'clock is what they're looking at.
Anita, that's perfect.
That's a pretty good chance.
All right, give us a day to clean up. Get ready for the next one. So, homes for sale. I don't know anything about Maryland here. This is what we call file tape in the business. I don't even know where that area code is. But from the Wall Street Journal, the national median home price last month of May, was $419,300, which is up 6%. From a year ago. We're already, inflation supposedly is now running at 3%, so that's running double inflation. And it's these high mortgage rates, and yet home prices keep going up for one reason. People do not want to sell their house at a 3% mortgage and move anywhere because they know they're going to have to suffer through a 7% mortgage.
So I can't tell you that's Chicago, 847.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Chicago.
Trying to make you feel at home.
Thank you. So basically what they're saying is because the inventory is low, they can raise their prices to wherever they want?
Well, no, partly. It's supply and demand. And so supply is so limited right now that is an issue. But they can't raise them because part of this report, I'm going to give you a little bit more of this from the Wall Street Journal, but part of the report indicated that people they're seeing softening and they're not getting their price. And so more and more people are now actually having to lower their prices because buyers are just running out of patience. A lot of people want to get out of an apartment. They're tired of paying rent to somebody else. And they are, they're mentally prepared for a mortgage rate of around 7%, but maybe they don't want to pay $417,000 for a house that 4 years ago was $250,000. So here, homes are sitting longer on the market as more buyers stay on the sidelines. The number of homes for sale or under contract at the end of May was up 6% from April because the rest of the country, even here in the hot summer months, it's the selling season.
I'm seeing more houses in our neighborhood up. And
with signs going up.
Yes, but they're also staying up longer, which is very surprising because about a year or two ago, if you didn't make an offer right then and there over asking price, you weren't getting that house. Would you consider this a buyer's market then?
Or
is there no such thing anymore as a buyer's market and a seller's market?
I will say it's not the frenzy from 2020 and 2021 and really even 2022. Even in 2022, the mortgage rate I did some prep work here. The average mortgage rate in Feb of 2022 was still 3.89%.
Which isn't bad, especially compared to what it is today.
I remember it went from 3% to 4%. And I thought, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, now it's at 7%. But it is a buyer's market in the sense that you're not competing with a bunch of other buyers. People are putting their homes on the market. And you know what? If you're looking at a house that's been for sale for a while, you know, you can look and it'll say right on there it's been on the market for 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. You probably either could sit and wait for them to lower the price or just come in with a noticeably lower price.
Right. And then you can ask for concessions because if they want to leave that property,
right,
you have the upper hand.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a frustrating situation for an awful lot of buyers to be in this quandary. You know, do you go ahead and make the offer? Because 7%, it looks right now like these 7% mortgages are here to stay. Everybody's clinging to hope of one interest rate cut later this year. Well, if that happens, maybe mortgages drop to 6.5%.
Which is it that big? Well, it can make a difference.
Sure,
it can absolutely make a difference. You know, we're at 2.99, and we chose to remodel instead of buy because. Also, the value doesn't seem to be there. If you paid $355 for a house, and then you go look at the other a house similar down the street that's $850 but needs $100,000
it's happening.
Remodel,
yeah,
I don't see it.
Yeah, I know it. Okay, so let's talk about one of my favorite stories from yesterday. I was not able to get to it. My apologies to our viewing audience here on Fox 10 Talks, people watching us on YouTube all over the world. The Amazon drivers who took on the creep.
Oh.
You got, let's see, you have two. I'm trying to figure out who's who here, but one of those three is the possible thief.
The one on the right and then the one on the left.
Okay, they're both wearing their Amazon jackets.
And then the one in the far back with the brown shirt looks to be the thief.
Okay, so this gentleman. I always like to give people the benefit of that. This gentleman walks up to that Amazon van thinking, maybe I could steal this.
Maybe.
Well, he picked the wrong guys to mess with.
Certainly did.
Because apparently the vehicle was somewhat stuck in traffic. And he tries to jump in and steal the vehicle. I don't think he realized there were two drivers in this particular vehicle because sometimes you only see one.
Right.
And who knows? Maybe it was a higher crime area. I have no idea. But the other guy comes around from the other side. And they're like, buddy, this is going to be your worst day.
They were beating him down, and they were not. Then he tried getting back in, and they went back at it.
Oh, that's right. You saw the video.
They were not letting him in.
Yeah, there was no way.
No.
Okay.
And one of them, I'm not sure, but I thought maybe the one on the left maybe was a woman. When you look at the video, go back and look at it.
Okay.
Or take a search and look at it.
Yeah.
It might be possible.
Well, anyhow, they took him down, that's for sure. They were able to hold him until police arrived, and the guy is going to face robbery and assault charges, and he'll have bad dreams about ever trying to steal an Amazon vehicle.
Wow.
Again, you know, the thing about it is these guys are out, they work hard. You know, it's hot and humid back in New York. It's so hot here in the valley, and you see these guys, most of the time, you notice, when they pull up in front of your house, they're running.
Yeah.
They jump out of the car with your package. They'll drop it off on the front step. They'll run back to the van and go somewhere else. I mean, they work hard to earn their living, and they are not going to let somebody steal their vehicle.
It's
that's
hard to
for
watch
sure.
something like that. It's tough to imagine it's happening in society. It really is.
Yeah.
Let them do their
right.
job. Maybe go get a job instead of stealing their vehicle.
There you go. There's today's advice segment of the day.
Get a job.
This is our new Ask Anita segment. If you're thinking about stealing a van, ask Anita first.
Get a job.
Get a job. All right. Let's go to, I can't believe it's already time for the mystery cam, Anita, but sure enough, we are getting close to the end of our half hour. By the way, if you've just discovered us, so we're live at 10 Phoenix time every morning at fox10phoenix.com. But you can also watch us on, as they call it, video on demand on YouTube. been watching these numbers grow. We've only had it on YouTube for a few days, and thousands of people have started watching.
I really think that they should think about expanding the show from a half hour to an hour.
Oh, do you?
I do. There's so many topics to cover, so many guests to have in, and things that don't just relate to Arizona.
Right.
But obviously, we have stories from New York.
Anita, do you realize how much I have to produce here just to get a half hour on the air?
We'll get you a producer, Ron. Right. We're going to get you a producer.
There's a lot involved. Anyway, let's go to the cam right now. Dino Fazzino has done it again. Who wouldn't love to live in a neighborhood like that? Where you have really just a lovely neighborhood, nice
garbage
homes. Day. Say what?
It's
garbage day. The always observant Anita. Look, there's some guy pulling out right now. Could be the garbage truck.
Could
no,
be.
It's not.
No,
big
it's
enough.
not. Maybe it's Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I can't wait to find out what this community is.
That's
that is the garbage
That's a garbage truck.
Okay, so that gives me some new. At first, I thought, well, that's just a tiny little truck. That was a garbage truck. These are big homes. All right, let's see. So it's green. It's the kind of place where they have big backyards. It's cloudy, middle of the day. I see a substation. I don't know. I see some hills off in the distance. Do you have any guesses, Anita?
I'm thinking somewhere in California, maybe.
Oh, really?
Like Sacramento.
Okay. Sacramento.
But I don't know that Sacramento's that green.
There was a guy on the radio in San Francisco named Dr. Don Rose, and he always called it Sacramento.
Okay.
So
could be Springfield, Illinois, too.
Well, no, but you lived in Springfield. I think you know it's probably not Springfield.
The houses
right? There's no state capital.
Yeah.
So you're going with Sacramento?
Yeah, why
then?
not? Somewhere around there.
And I'm going to go somewhere closer into the Midwest. I'm going to say maybe somewhere in, say, South Dakota.
Oh.
So here we go. We turn to camera number. Oops, hold on. Camera. Oh, there we go. Camera number 3. Anita, go ahead and pull that envelope out. We only have seconds left. Let's see
1, 2,
what the
3.
answer is. Is it California or? Oh, look at that! It's Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Beautiful.
Let's go back one more time.
We need a road trip.
That is a beautiful town. I need to go explore.